Hi guys, welcome back to Guru Beauty. I'm Jodie. Fantastic news for those of you who have been waiting on some of the newer neutral palettes that we've been seeing other YouTubers talk about for a while now. They have come to Australia at Kit Cosmetics, both online and in store. The two palettes that I'm talking about are the Too Faced Chocolate Bar eyeshadow palette and also the Smashbox Full Exposure eyeshadow palette. Both are available now at kitcosmetics.com as well as in store, retailing for close to $70. The Smashbox is $69.95, the Too Faced is $68.95. That compares with a $49 price tag in the USA for both of these products, taking into account the sales tax that they pay in the USA, so say round it up to about $55. We're looking at somewhere between a 25 to 30% markup that we're paying more for these palettes in Australia. You should be able to find these also online at various websites. Some of them do ship for free to Australia, so check that option out. But Kit Cosmetics is where you can find them exclusively in Australia. I wanted to share the news with you that they are available, show you swatches and give you my opinion. Some of you may be deciding between the two of them, and I'll let you know at the end of this video which one I would choose, as well as put some comparative swatches with the two of them together at the end. I will go through one and then the other just to let you know the pros and cons of each palette. First palette I will start with is the Smashbox Full Exposure. Now I was really excited about the Smashbox Full Exposure because one of my favorite neutral palettes would be one that's virtually impossible to get in Australia. It's from Lorac and it is their Pro palette. The Pro palette is kind of like the Urban Decay Naked palette on steroids because it's got a really nice selection and range of matte shades and a really nice range and selection of shimmer shades. Beautiful quality eyeshadow. You've got slightly more shades to choose from than the Urban Decay, and whenever anyone asks me what my very favorite eyeshadow palette is, it's the Lorac Pro without a doubt. Lorac, as I say, virtually impossible to find in Australia, so it's a waste of time even really talking about it. What I like about the Lorac Pro, that you've got a nice range of mattes and a nice range of shimmers, is what the Smashbox Full Exposure also does look like it brings to you as well. So it comes in this sort of hard cardboard type packaging. You can see a bit of a holographic type titling on the box, thick sort of sturdy cardboard packaging, and this is what the palette looks like. So you've got some matte shades along the bottom, all nice and neutral, and then some more shimmery shades along the top. It comes with a very nice quality dual-ended brush. This is something that is a pro for this palette. You not only get the 14 shades of eyeshadows, but you've got the brush, great quality. Smashbox does also include an eye shape chart as well in the box. They sort of go through different shapes of eyes and tell you how to apply your shadow given those different shapes. So they don't actually really talk about different looks with this palette in terms of, you know, which color to use to get a certain look. They just talk about, like for almond eyes, sweep a light shade across the entire lid to add depth, make eyes pop, apply a medium shade to the outer corner, and then using a dark line upper and lower lashes. And they basically have a day look, a night look, and a best defined look using sort of generic names like a light, medium, dark shade. They've got that for each eye shape. So they go for almond eyes, round eyes, upturned eyes, downturned eyes, monolid eyes, and hooded eyes. So a handy little resource there for some of you. Also on the back of the palette, so that you don't lose it, you've got a little, what is it called, a QR code, I'm not sure, but I've got the app on my iPhone where you scan that and it takes you to a website automatically. It says that they've got also some how-tos, get the looks and more for your particular eye shape there from Smashbox. I'm not going to review that, I haven't been to that website or seen it, but that's a really nice handy tool. Love that it's on the palette because I usually sort of just discard all of those eye charts and never to be seen again. The names are pretty uninspiring, I will say that, especially if comparing the two palettes. We've got, you know, on the shimmer we've got S1 right through to S7, wow, and then for the matte shades we've got M1 through to M7. Doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the product, but still not quite as fun as naming the shades. That's kind of boring. And I will also say for each of the shadows we've got a total net weight of 14 grams, so we've got 1 gram of shadow each. I will cut now to swatches of this full exposure palette. First of all, I'll show you the mattes. They are absolutely stunning and beautiful. The dark shades are very nice, very pigmented. The light shades are very pigmented. It's everything that I'd be looking for in a matte palette. For that alone, I think this is a beautiful palette. You could certainly use some of those shades for your brows, so that is something I always look for. Now I'll switch to the shimmer shades, and I believe that this is where the palette is sort of let down. These shades are a little bit more glittery than shimmery, a little bit less pigmented than some of your more sort of shimmery shades like in your Urban Decay Naked palette or in your Lorac Pro palette. If you like using like a MAC luster eyeshadow, then you might really like these shimmer shades in this palette. What you're getting is like a bit of a shimmer, some glitter. That is pretty much it for the Smashbox full exposure. Definitely doesn't quite live up to the Lorac Pro palette. But moving on to the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, it comes in really lovely, gorgeous, cute packaging that we'd come to expect from Too Faced. It does show all the different shades on the back. They do have really cute names like Gilded Ganache, White Chocolate, Strawberry Bonbon, Triple Fudge, Black Forest Truffle, Cherry Cordial. I love it when they name eyeshadow shades, whether it's in a palette or a single eyeshadow. I like having names. It does contain 16 antioxidant rich cocoa powder infused matte and shimmer shades. We've got 16 shades in total here, so a couple more than the Smashbox full exposure, and again a really nice range of matte and shimmer. I'll cut to the swatches here. What you can see out of the 16 shadows is first of all the matte shades. We've got 7 matte shades in the palette, ranging from a really nice pigmented matte highlight shade, going through a few different medium browns. We've got a beautiful pigmented dark brown shade, a beautiful nice matte plum. Really doesn't disappoint there on the matte shades either, 7 to choose from. And then moving on to the shimmers, a really nice range of shimmers. We've got a great shimmer highlight, a beautiful shimmer champagne and gold, a beautiful shimmer sort of rosy shade, a nice darker plum shade with a little bit more glitter in there, and I really like that khaki shade at the end there. Would look beautiful with the gold and the rosy and the plum shades as well. So in comparison, I think that the Chocolate Bar palette, while it is primarily a neutral palette, you've got a couple more interesting colors like that khaki and that shimmery purple as well to add into the mix, which is really nice. The first thing that you notice when you take it out of the box, obviously, is the beautiful tin packaging. This one is metal like the Urban Decay Naked 2, I guess you would say. It's shaped like a chocolate bar, which is beautiful. And I will note that this palette comes alone. So unlike the full exposure from Smashbox, we've got no brush. So when you open it, you've got the mirror there just like the Smashbox. But what I love about this palette is the thought that has gone into giving more space to the highlight shades. What you find is that a highlight shade is something that you wear every single day despite mixing up the different colors. So you go through those faster. And what happens when you go through the shade that you use every day and there's none of that left in the palette and you've got all of the colors left, is that it's not a standalone palette anymore, and it makes its way gradually to the back of your drawer. Because they've given twice as much product, at least in these pans, for the highlight, the everyday shades, you are going to get the value out of this palette. When you are paying more for a palette, you're going to get the value out of this one. It's going to be less likely to be using up your, daily shades. I love that. Now, the range of shades is absolutely stunning. You saw from the swatches that the mattes are beautiful and pigmented. The shimmers are beautiful and pigmented. They're not sort of sheer and glittery type shimmer shades. They're nice, solid, pigmented shimmer shades, closer to the Urban Decay and the Lorac Pro palette. The other thing I love about this palette, when you open up the lid, you get that smell, that cocoa chocolate smell that you get with the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. So if you're like me and you're very fragrance driven, you'll love that. It really adds to the experience of using the palette. You just smell it, you put on your makeup, it's beautiful. Now, some of you don't like fragrance because you're sensitive, you might react to it, it might irritate your eyes, so that may be something that you don't like about this palette. I personally love it. It's fabulous. For those of you who like a bit of inspiration and a starting point, the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette does come with a how-to glamour guide. They feature 3 different looks there on this fold-out chart, and then they explain how you're going to get that on the back of that. So that's kind of handy. Again, no brush. Which would be my pick? That's the question at the end of the day, and probably from what I've already explained already, I think it's probably pretty obvious that my pick of the two would be the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. A really fantastic range of eyeshadows, Beautiful quality, and I like that you've got pigment, whether it's a matte or a shimmer, and then you've also got a little bit of a twist on that neutral with a couple of different, you know, khaki purple shades in there, as well as some beautiful plums, which I really like, those cranberry plum tones with the neutrals as well. Having brown eyes, but blue eyes and green eyes alike really look great with those sort of plummy cranberry type shades. So this one is definitely my pick. It is the one that is $1 cheaper without the brush. Available now from Kit Cosmetics. I hope that you enjoyed this quick review, and before I finish I will let you know that I am wearing the Too Faced chocolate bar palette today. I'll include a link to that Get Ready With Me video if you're curious. If it's not up yet, I'll include the link down below once it is up. If you've got questions, post down below. If you have one of these palettes, or if you've checked them out in store and you have any thoughts about them, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? How do they compare? What do you think of the full exposure? What do you think of the Too Faced chocolate bar eyeshadow palette? I'd always love to hear from you, so thank you for commenting down below. I hope that I've answered all of your questions. If I do have any additional information like ingredients, that kind of thing, links, I'll include those down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Have yourself a beautiful day. You are beautiful, don't you forget it. We'll see you again really soon. Bye.